Hi everyone, welcome to Module 6, where we'll be taking a deeper dive into 2 of the 4 C's, critical thinking and creativity. By now, we hope you see how the ideas in this course are building on each other. We want you to be actively seeking the connections between the ideas in order to make meaning for your own teaching practice. In this video, I'm going to do a brief walkthrough of the resources and requirements for this module, which is squarely focused on deepening our understanding not only of 2 of the 4 C's, but also effective use of digital platforms. Slide 2 should be very familiar. It's the same information that we have on the second slide in every one of our slideshows. It is the blue or turquoise descriptions down below. The different items that you'll find in the slide deck are linked, so it makes it easy for you to get to that part of the slideshow quickly if needed. Slide 3 shares our outcomes, focus, and essential question. Basically, our outcomes are to continue to connect those foundational ideas with your lesson planning. The work that we're doing now around critical thinking, creativity, our tech Try It, which is Pear Deck, and even looking at a model for understanding how to effectively use digital platforms, all of those pieces really are leading you to planning lessons that you will implement with students this fall. Slide 4 shows you what the requirements are for this module. The first one is that you will be you're of course going to be continuing your lesson planning based on the lesson planning template that you created in Module 5, but we also want you to use Pear Deck to create some resources for students that you will once again use in the fall when we get back to school. And we're going to ask that you are thinking about building in critical thinking and creativity into your lesson planning as well as your Pear Deck resources for students. The weekly reflection in this module is optional. Remember, you need to do 2 weekly reflections sometime between Module 5, which was the last one, and Module 11, which is in the fall once we're headed back to school. So you will choose the 2 weeks that you want to do reflections. Slide 5 shows our learning path. What you're listening to right now is the introductory video. We have some required readings that I will share with you in just a moment. We also have quite a few videos related to critical thinking, creativity, and the SAMR model, as well as the ISTE standards, by the way, that I'll talk about in just a minute. We, of course, want you to study this graphic that is the representation of the SAMR model, which is a model that helps us understand how we're using digital platforms and push our thinking about how to make them more effective for learning. The SAMR model is based on enhancing learning and transforming learning by the way that we use or embed the digital parts or tools of our lesson. You're going to be building your TPAC by learning more about how to use the add-on Pear Deck. It is an add-on to Google Slides. So basically you're making a slideshow and you are using the add-on Pear Deck to make that slideshow become more interactive. You will also have an opportunity to do to look at some additional resources in terms of readings and actually a podcast and some videos. And then you will be creating, for your lesson planning, you will be creating lessons for your project that incorporate critical thinking and creativity, as well as a resource that you are going to use with students using our Tech Try It of Pear Deck. And then, of course, optional is your weekly reflection. Slide 6 shows us our reading for this week or this module. You can choose to read about critical thinking and creativity within this one NEA guide that is shown in the center of the slide. The pages are delineated there for you if that's your choice, or you can read the research briefs from P21. This slide has your links to just some amazing videos. The first one is around the SAMR model and ISTE standards, how they're linked together. And the second one is around the ISTE student standards. And what you will be watching there is really the use of these resources in action with students. Slide 8 is our Tech Try It slide. The tech talks for this week are, of course, the Europe East Tech Talk. I can't talk. Um, Around Google Slides and Pear Deck, which is an add-on, as I said before, to Google Slides. There are also cheat sheets and resource guides for Google Slides and Pear Deck linked down below, or at least the website is linked where you will go and download them yourself. These are great to have as a backup, as a resource for, when you're in the middle of creating a slideshow and you need to know what to do, or using Pear Deck. They're just extremely beneficial and helpful. Slide 9 shows you the additional resources. Once again, fantastic resources. We know that this is more than you can probably consume right now in terms of time and maybe even mental space. But it's okay, because we wanted to create a collection for you that you can continue to come back to. It's the same that it's been throughout the course. We've tried to provide ample resources for you to have the ability to come back to later, study, deepen your understanding, view a second time, or look at a second time. That is why we've put so much in here. The intent is not for you to do to be able to take in all of these resources at one time. Slide 10 has our Tech Try It directions. Sarah will also give you some direction around using Pear Deck within her talk, as well as I said on slide 8, the Tech Talk also will help you with Pear Deck, excuse me, and the cheat sheets as well, and resource guide. But Sarah will also her talk will also help you get started creating some resources or a lesson that you are going to actually use with students using Pear Deck. This could be something from one of your lesson plans, but it doesn't have to be. It could be an extra piece. It can be something very small. Sarah will explain all of that in her video. But basically what you're going to be doing here is thinking through, how are you going to organize your lesson, your digital lessons and resources? And so you're going to need to think about, what is your file saving structure that you are going to create on your drive so that you can manage all of these resources that you are now starting to create. We're going to ask you to create a very simple Google slideshow. You can use some templates that Sarah will be sharing with you, or you can have it a little bit more open-ended and do your own. That's completely up to you after you view all of the resources. But after you create a Google slideshow, we're going to ask you to use Pear Deck to create some interactivity with for the students based on the content that you include in your slideshow. So that our intent here is that we really want you to implement this lesson. So we want you to think through some things that you are definitely going to be using. It could be Unit 0 pieces, as many of you have mentioned, or it could be something that's a little bit heavier in content that you could use synchronously or asynchronously in your classroom with your students later. When you've finished creating your lesson plan and the Pear Deck, we're going to ask you to go back to the classroom and mark it as done, and attach the slideshow with the Pear Deck features, as well as your lesson plan, to when you mark the assignment as done, so that we can view it. And that's it for this week. Once again, basically you are going to be learning more about how to use digital platforms effectively. You are going to be going beyond practicing with Pear Deck, but now creating your own. You're going to be enhancing your understanding of creativity and critical thinking, and you're going to be working on your lesson plans, which make up the course project. So I hope you have a great week. And as always, we'll be looking forward to seeing what you create and design. Thank you.